All right, so welcome back to the cell module. Now we're going to get into some short discussion of the plasma membrane that exists around all cells. So the plasma membrane separates the inside, the living cell, the working cell environment from its non-living surroundings, so that extracellular environment. The plasma membrane is this really complex structure, and it's kind of a mosaic of different structures. And we actually refer to the plasma membrane as this fluid mosaic. And that's because the molecules that are in the plasma membrane actually drift and kind of move freely past one another. And so that's the fluid part. The mosaic part really comes from the fact that there's actually a lot of different types of proteins that are in the membrane and other structures such as the phospholipids and cholesterol, and then you have complex carbohydrates that are attached to some of the proteins and that are used for like cell communication. And so all of these different components leads to a mosaic of components in the plasma membrane structure itself. And so the plasma membrane, the main core of the structure is are the phospholipid molecules. And phospholipid molecules are a fat, they're a lipid. And remember we discussed this triglycerol. So remember that had a glycerol head with 3 fatty acid tails. Now a phospholipid is a lipid that has a glycerol head but only 2 fatty acid tails. And what happens is these phospholipids have a polar and non-polar portion in their structure. So the head is hydrophilic, so it likes water, it's polar. The tails, the fatty acid tails, are hydrophobic. They don't like water. They like non-polar substances or molecules. And so the phospholipids will orient themselves in such a way whenever you put them in a solution, in a liquid solution, to where the head is coming in contact with the water and the tails are away from that water. And that ends up forming this bilayer sheet of phospholipids like we see in this figure here. So here we have 2 layers of phospholipids. We have an upper layer and a bottom layer. You notice the heads are all pointed to the liquid, the water solution outside of the cell and inside of the cell. And that separates those hydrophobic tails inside of the cell or inside of that membrane layer and keeps them from coming in contact with the slightly polar water molecules. And so this is how that phospholipid bilayer forms, is because of those properties of those phospholipids. And then whenever a cell membrane is fully formed and functional, it will have a lot of embedded proteins. We'll also have some cholesterol molecules, and then it will have some carbohydrates kind of hanging off those proteins. And they all help to keep the fluidity of the plasma membrane working, allow molecules to kind of move in and out of the cells, but it also helps to keep the plasma membrane put together and to communicate or to allow communication between the cells themselves. And like we mentioned, plant cells will also have a cell wall in combination with the plasma membrane. And that cell wall is made up of cellulose fibers. So remember, we talked about cellulose as a carbohydrate. And that cellulose is this structural component that helps to not only keep the cell at a specific shape and structure, but also allows it to have some protection. And it keeps it from absorbing too much water and to burst because it does have that cell wall structure. And because animal cells lack cell walls, they could undergo what's called a lysis, where If they get too much water, then that cell could burst. And they also secrete a sticky coat called an extracellular matrix, and this will kind of surround the cell of an animal cell. And then in combination with your plasma membrane, your cell walls, there are also what we call cell junctions. And these are like gap junctions, little channels where the structures will connect two cells to one another. And then the cells can communicate and function in a coordinated fashion to do similar processes and that sort of thing. So those cell junctions allow for coordinated function and also communication. All right, so that's it for the plasma membrane. And the next video, we will go over the nucleus, and we'll start looking at the organelles inside the cell after that.